And begin.
Yay.
So it's funny. I'm looking at the very beginning of this video, and on the right side it shows my history, like of all the things I did, like how many times the pen touches the tablet. And we looked at a blank canvas, and yet it shows a long history of how many times I drew something. It's like pen tool, pen tool, pen tool, pen tool, every time you touch it. And then like the last thing it said, delete. So it's like, I drew a whole bunch of stuff. And then I was like, this looks terrible. Delete layer, stop recording. Delete recording. Start over again.
How many times did you do that?
Only that once.
Okay.
Yeah, I started drawing something and it just looked bad. I'm just like, well, no, let me start over again. So.
And which penguin is this?
This is War. Yay.
No. I don't know why I said yay.
Yay for War.
I don't know. The penguins are just cute. And I'm just like, yay. Penguins.
Well, that's the idea. Obviously, the Horsemen of the Apocalypse are not supposed to be cute images. But I always like the juxtaposition of stuff that's supposed to be mean or whatever, and violent, but make it cute and funny. And it just always, I don't know, I just like that combination of stuff. If you looked at this right here, that medallion in the middle of this cape,
It's Max.
that's Max. I always try to hide a Sam and Max reference in a lot of my pictures. And even how the cape comes off of that medallion, that's like his ears,
Yeah.
because he's like a rabbit. Or they say he's a hyperkinetic rabbity thing. Lagomorph, that's what they call him.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know what that means, but that's the only time I've ever seen that word. It was in Sam and Max.
I was gonna say, and for people who don't know, it's based off of Sam and Max, a cartoon by Steve Purcell, right?
Yeah. It was like a comic. He had a bunch of little comics in these Lucasfilm or LucasArts newsletters. I think he did a bunch of artwork for Zach McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders. He did Monkey Island 2, I think. He might have done the first one too. But I don't know if he did everything, but I know he did a lot of the art design. I mean, I'm not super up on all the history, but I just like his artwork. I guess that's weird. Like, there's some people I know that are real into an artist, and they like follow them, and they know everything about them and their entire history. Like, oh, they did the comic run from this year to this year, and this, and they. But like, I like Steve Purcell's art, and I know him best from the Surfing the Highway collective book. But I didn't follow his entire career, you know?
That doesn't mean you're not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan, but like, I guess maybe some people would say you're not a true fan because you don't know everything about this person.
You're not hardcore.
I guess. But it's really, I don't know, that's not my thing. I like what I like, and it doesn't mean I'm going to follow everything.
Sorry, I'm watching your, you draw the hat, and then erase it, draw a different hat, and I saw the actual army helmet, and then you had like a card with an ace like tucked into it, and then you erased that and then went back to the Viking looking helmet.
Yeah,
So.
that's how I work.
I actually didn't know that you changed the hat and then went back.
I went through several different hats, and my first version had a different hat, so
I like the Viking.
yeah, that seemed to work the best. Like, I don't know. I couldn't make up my mind. Like, the Viking helmet looked good, and then as I was drawing it, it didn't to me. I'm like, no, this is bad. Let me try other helmets. So actually, in the middle of that, I paused the video recording and Googled different helmets. So I had reference material up on the other screen. And then I started drawing helmets and like, didn't like any of them. So, but I kept it in the video where I drew it and erased it. Oh well, I keep some of my mistakes. I say I keep all of them, but I don't. I definitely keep more than I used to.
I feel like you can learn from the mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, that's there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's definitely something I should do. I should try to keep more of that stuff so I can reference even my old garbage. That sword, I actually used a different ruler that I learned how to use. It was like I forget what it's called, symmetrical ruler. I think it, like you draw a center point line, and then you only have to draw half of the image, and it mirrors it on the other side.
Oh, okay.
I found that pretty handy for drawing things like swords and stuff that are supposed to be symmetrical.
Right.
Otherwise, like, it just comes off looking weird. When I was younger, I think I was right out of high school. I was in college, probably in my first or second year of college, and I don't even remember how I got into contact with this guy, but it might have been through somebody I know or knew at the time or what, but he wanted a character designed for some company that he was starting on his own. He was making candles out of beeswax with hemp wicks, and he wanted a cartoon bee as like his logo that was like leaning up against a marijuana plant smoking one of his candles. I'm like, okay, like, sure, that's dumb, but we'll do it. And so I drew up a few designs, and this is before the internet was a thing, really, because I'm old. And
well, the internet was around in the 90s, mind you,
I know,
but
it was around.
It wasn't as prevalent as it is today.
The only way I had access to it was to use the computer lab at school, so I didn't have it at home.
Right.
So I ended up I met this guy at a restaurant locally, face to face, and I brought the stuff that I drew. None of it was done digitally, so I had it all on paper. And while I was sitting there having a conversation with him, he was like, "Oh, I like this one and this one." And then he like reached and like tried to grab them from my hands, and he's like, "Do you mind if I take these?" And I looked at him and I like pulled him back real quick. And I'm like, "Yes." Like, you can't just take these things. These are mine.
Right.
Well, wait, you were doing this for me. Like, yeah, you can't just take things from people, And I don't remember exactly how the words went, but I know he argued with me about he was looking to hire me, and if he likes these designs, he wants to take them and like workshop them. But if he likes them, then we can work together. And I guess indicating at that point he was going to pay me. Mm-hmm. But before then, he wanted to just steal them literally out of my hands and walk away. And I ended up not physically fighting him about it, but I argued with him about it, and then he left empty-handed, and I never heard from him again. So yeah, I almost had art stolen from me, like literally out of my hands.
He sounds like a lovely guy.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to that guy.
But we were talking about fans or fandoms, or is that what they're called? Fandoms, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I guess I'm a fan of Steve Purcell's work, but I don't do fandom like other people do, I guess. That was another thing that I was trying to think of before, and maybe we talked about it before on another recording about doing fan art.
I don't think we talked about it on another recording. We've just talked about it.
Okay. Well, then we'll talk about it now.
Okay.
Because like I don't, and this is partly why I'm probably people don't know my art as well, is because I don't do fan art really. I don't draw other people's stuff because that kind of feels weird to me.
Yeah.
I draw my characters, which nobody knows because they're not famous. Like, I could draw like a Spider-Man or Batman and everyone recognizes that. I did do one thing that had a Batman theme to it, and I put it on Instagram, and I got a lot more likes for that than anything that I put that was just my own. Because that's how people work. They're like, "Oh, I know that thing." Click.
Right.
and they see stuff they don't know, and they're like, oh, I'll just skip right by that because it doesn't jump out at me as something I already know. But people aren't willing to try to just appreciate things they don't know. Which is weird, because how is anything new going to ever be invented if nobody's ever looking for new stuff? And they're always just hanging on to things they already know.
Oh, you want to keep going?
No, I'm done talking to you.
Okay. I'm going to go in the other room and watch D&D.
I'll talk to you Friday. Alright, everybody. Thanks for staying this long and being patient with all the dumb stuff that we talk about.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Goodbye.
bye.